I would be grateful if all the members of the Executive Council who are present would stand and be recognised. For those of you... Oh, that's good. I was going to say, we seem to be a bit short on the ground. For those of you who don't know, the Executive Council is responsible for the day-to-day running of the PPM. Of course, they get plenty of help from other PPM members and from the MLAs, but the responsibility is theirs. They don't get much recognition, they don't seek the limelight, but now and then I think we should acknowledge their work, and for that matter, the work of all the others who contribute to the PPM, time and effort. Particularly, I'd like to mention the district councils and also the group that is known as the Movers and Shakers, and indeed those who as individuals make their valued contributions. I say that we should acknowledge them because I don't think that they are looking for anybody's thanks. Perhaps when I say they, I should say we, because as the chairman, my job is to chair meetings of the Executive Council. We help because this is a good cause, love of country. Also because it's interesting and, dare I say it, enjoyable most of the time. It's a privilege to be involved, and we do make a real difference to the way that this country is governed. Of course, we do occasionally have differences, but even when we argue on some particular issue, we know that we're all on the same side. And what side is that? What do we stand for? If anyone who is watching or listening does not know, I'd ask them to look at the PPM Constitution. There in the preamble, which is just 10 lines long, is a statement of what we're all about. A new approach to government. If anyone wants a copy of this, I'd be happy to send it to them, or they could apply to the PPM office. When you read the preamble, you may well say to yourself, now in 2009, that it pretty much describes the kind of government that we have. Well, I would agree. But remember that it was written in 2003. And we certainly didn't have that kind of government then. It's terribly important that we not slip back into that kind of government. So I'd ask you to put your hands together for all of those who devote time and effort to the PPM. The other thing I want to talk about is party politics, because there seems to be a good deal of confusion on this subject. Perhaps that's to be expected, given that there are so many independent candidates running. In any event, I'm going to give you my short explanation of what the party system is all about. The most important thing that the PPM does is to empower voters. We do that by presenting voters with a team of candidates who have a shared view of what government should be doing, and for that matter, what it should not be doing. And a manifesto which sets out their principles and objectives, and an agreed leader. In other words, we present a team that's ready, willing, and able to take up the reins of government if that's what a majority of the voters want. How does this empower voters? Well, it allows them to use their vote not just to choose a local representative, but also to say who they want to govern the country. And voters can make that decision based on a clear understanding of how the candidates line up and what they would do if elected. This is a big change from candidates presenting themselves to voters as independents, individually. That makes the whole exercise a kind of lottery, a sort of magical mystery tour. voters have to cast their votes without any real idea of the consequences. Voters have to wait and see what will happen after the election, when the newly appointed MLAs get together and make their deals about who will join forces with whom, who will be the leader, and what the new government will do. Voters get no say in any of that. That's not really democracy. Under the lottery system, the country can end up with an unrepresentative government, one that is made up of people that a majority of the voters don't want, with a leader who a majority of the voters don't want, committed to policies which a majority of the voters don't want. That is exactly what happened to the country at the end of 2001. That is not real democracy. So unless voters are happy to leave it to others to choose the new leader and the new government, they should encourage candidates to get together and sort themselves out before, not after, the election. So that when people vote for candidate A, they know what sort of government they're helping to elect, and who will be its leader, and what will be its policies and objectives. That's what the party system is all about. In 2005, the PPM offered voters a PPM team, complete with a leader and a manifesto. The UDP team was not quite so clear or united, but voters had seen them in action. So the choice was clear. This was no lottery. Voters made a decision about the government they wanted. That is real democracy. We're doing the same again now in 2009. We're empowering voters and enabling them to choose their government. Now, what else does the PPM do? I've got to be brief about this because I don't have many minutes, but let's be clear that what it doesn't do is govern the country. It does not tell ministers what to do. We all understand that when MLAs are elected, they owe their duties to everyone in their districts and in the country as a whole. But we do in the PPM discuss policy, we do call for reports, we do try to help with difficult decisions, and we do expect ministers and backbenchers to implement PPM principles and policies. Through our district councils, we provide a way for any interested member to get involved in these things. Does this help and encourage good government? I'm certain that it does. The PPM is not just a talking shop. We carry out projects for the benefit of local communities, working in step with the local MLAs. We organise events, and there's quite a bit of admin involved in an organisation like ours. We do not spend much time on PR or recruitment. Perhaps we should spend more. I'm not suggesting that everything to do with the PPM is perfect. In fact, I'm perfectly sure that there's plenty of room for improvement. But don't let anyone tell you that the party system is a bad thing. Some parties are good and some are bad, just like people. It all depends on what they're really trying to do. Anton is going to come and take away the microphone from me in a minute, but I do want to say this. Some people say the party system leads to more fighting between politicians. I disagree. Certainly, we do not encourage our MLAs to be aggressive. Of course, we do want them to respond to criticism or misleading comments. But we long ago understood and accepted that life is too short for them to spend much time on that. They need to get on with the business of government. It is not the party system. It's not the party system that makes MLAs take sides. It's the division of the LA between government and opposition. That's the way government here works. Certainly there are factors that may increase aggravation. And a particular one is if politicians continue to jostle for power after the election is over, as happened in 2001.